so I was born in Los Angeles in Southern California. Spent a lot of time in India growing up. My dad would go back
Hmm.
and forth because he was a filmmaker.
Okay.
Um, and he had just started his career as a filmmaker the year I was born. He made his first film the year I was born. Um, and so as he was trying to get his career off the ground, there was a lot of going back and forth between India and the US. So I lived in Bombay, a lot when I was a kid, lived in Los Angeles as well. So I definitely got like the experience of both worlds. And I um I definitely like, being raised by a, a parent, who both my parents are entrepreneurs. My dad was a filmmaker, was absolutely passionate about what he did. I mean, loved this was, I mean, he was like a boy from Calcutta who went to IIT and then came to America on a PhD, opportunity and found his way somehow, to Hollywood and always wanted to had this dream of making films, but with no access, no resources, no connections, nothing. And he and my mom really figured that out, together. They started the first movie theater in the US that screened Hindi language films, the
Wow.
Maralta Theater, which is why my company is called Maralta Films, in Los Angeles. So this was before I was born. They leased a single screen theater and they would screen Hindi films. And
That's a great legacy.
it's amazing. It's amazing. But that was the point of doing that, for my dad was to, he was not having any luck getting anyone's attention in Hollywood. So he said, okay, I'm going to try getting the attention of producers and distributors in India and see if I can make a film that way. And that worked actually. So that's how he got his first film financed and how his career really started. So, I definitely like would spend a lot of time, as a kid watching movies with my dad. And then also seeing my mom kind of hold our lives together, in terms of making sure my dad was a dreamer and my mom was the one who grounded him, and said, okay, we need to, save money. We have a child now. We need to pay a mortgage, we have to figure out a way to make this work. So my mom also like is an incredibly brilliant woman, and an entrepreneur. So she started a business and they really supported each other,
What did she
and
do?
she had an IT consulting business that she started right at the height of the tech boom, the early 2000s tech boom. So it was really good timing. And she essentially recruited for all of these companies in the US that were and around the world that were really growing and needed IT support. She recruited talent from India.
Wow. And what was her background?
Like literally, but when she started this business, she had never even turned on a computer before. My husband and I met through grad school. We both went to Columbia University for grad school. And we actually didn't meet. We were in the program together for 3 years and we didn't meet the whole time we were in the program together. We met just as I was graduating, and just as I was about, to leave for India to go make a suitable girl. But it was just one of those things. We met at a college party, and he was had Sima Didi jokes about, not jokes. She talks about her 60-70% rule and don't adhere to the checkbox. My husband on the surface checked none of those boxes.
Mhm.
I didn't want somebody who worked in the same industry as me. I didn't want to, I that time thought I wanted to be with somebody who was of an Indian background, didn't want somebody who was you know like worked in the arts and blah 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 and this and that. And he was all of those things. It was like he has to be. I said, because I'm quite tall, I said I need somebody who's like at least 5'11", 6 feet tall, at least, because if I wear heels I don't want to feel shorter than my husband. My husband's 5'10". He's not shorter than me, but he's like just a little bit taller than me. And literally I haven't worn heels since the day I had my first child, so it's totally moot at this point. So he's younger than me, so it's like all of these things that I thought were important to me. He didn't check those boxes, but it turned out to be like exactly the right person that I wanted and needed. And, I'm very grateful every day that he's in my life. And now we're like one big happy family, including my mother and, who was very uh, against us getting married, or
Oh,
being together in the beginning. But now they're just like two peas in a pod. They adore each other.